My name's Isabel Williams, and this is my Pecha Kucha on planetary health. The Rockefeller Foundation Lancet Commission, or RFLC, claims that the human population is healthier than ever before, but to achieve this, we've exploited the planet at an unprecedented rate. They believe that global health has mainly improved by mortgaging the health of future generations to realize economic and development gains in the present. Whilst I agree that the health of future generations is being mortgaged, it is crucial to acknowledge those of Indigenous descent, whose health and resources were and are still being sacrificed to achieve global gains in health, wealth, and development. I also believe that the Commission relies too heavily on narratives of progress in their claim around global health, and as a result, overlooks the merits of the multitude of ways that humans lived in the distant and not so distant past. Who defines health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity? Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures expand on this individualist definition by attributing mental, physical, and cultural well-being to the health of community and life. If we apply this perception to the RFLC's claims, are we not unhealthier than ever before? As the RFLC fails to define what is meant by before, I take it to encompass what they refer to as our great escape from extreme deprivation in the past 250 years. This period spans from industrialization to the current day, which conveniently overlooks hunter-gatherer ways of life and knowledge systems, possibly due to their supposedly backwards location on the grand timeline of human progress. Throughout this presentation, I refer to the first peoples of pre-colonial Australia as hunter-gatherers. Though obvious hardships and bouts of ill health would have arisen, Blyton's collation of First Fleet impressions tells of a strong, healthy Aboriginal population with the presence of many elders. Hunter-gatherers had excellent health, minimal disease, and plenty of time for relationship building and cultural expression once food and shelter were sorted. Such balance was embedded in a cultural understanding of the interconnected nature between people and country. Although high infant mortality rates skew life expectancy metrics for hunter-gatherers, many lived into their 70s. This is contrary to the erroneous yet common belief that existence pre-industrialization was brutish, brief, and banal. Though it's a tricky tightrope to walk without valorizing primitivism and perpetuating the reductive and highly problematic trope of the ecologically noble savage. Flash forward to contemporary times, and access to quality health care has contributed to longer lives, yet these gains overwhelmingly favour the mainstream populations of developed nations, which the Commission acknowledges. The ABS reports that between 2015 and 17, the life expectancy for Aboriginal people living remotely was 69.6 years for women and 65.9 years for men. Around the globe, disparities in life expectancy between Indigenous and non-Indigenous people are extreme. In some cases, the gap can reach up to 20 years. When compared against oral and archaeological records, the RFLC's claim that we have better health than at any other time in human history seems like a grand assumption. The homogeneous "we" used by the Commission and their inclusion of reductive quantitative metrics, though useful in some cases, are inept for addressing the complexities of human health and its history. Whilst the Commission discusses the exploitation of planetary resources, the origins and owners of these resources are overlooked. There is an unjust, unethical, and unsustainable connection between the extraction of resources from ancestral lands in order to meet the demands of our resource-hungry system. Our drive for progress comes at the expense of disempowered groups who are, in many cases, Indigenous. In this way, we're sacrificing the health of people and lands for those that we deem more important. Ironically, exploitative practices such as mineral extraction play a huge role in the medical industry. Iron is used in hospital construction, while nickel reinforces hypodermic needles, and steel comprises the very dialysis machines that Aboriginal people rely on to manage their modern diseases. Despite some omissions, the RFLC is doing important work. In conceptualizing planetary health and recognizing humanity's dependence on the Earth for survival, the RFLC emphasizes the extreme destruction humans have caused. Their message is strong. We've royally cooked it. But there are solutions. The Haudenosaunee principle of the seventh generation requires every decision made to consider the impacts on people and their environments within 7 generations. This in turn governs a person's ethics and their approach to life. It's a form of multi-generational advocacy, one that the dominant paradigm overlooks. Complex sustainability issues must be met with complex and adaptive solutions. This means valuing different standpoints and removing knowledge from its hierarchical constraints. We have a lot to learn from traditional and contemporary Indigenous pattern thinking, perspectives, and critique on present-day systems. Human ecology, as Dyball and Newell envisage. Shout out to Rob if you're watching. Strives to gain an understanding of the paradigmatic nature of human systems whilst questioning the potential for humans to change their worldviews. Can we shift to a paradigm that marries valuable insights from the past and present to safeguard those of the future?